Hey rail fans, welcome back to the section house kitchen on the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. Do you have a sweet that you want to make a special dinner for Valentine's Day? We've got just the thing here for you on this episode of Black Hills and Eastern Railroad.
Let's do it! Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, from the plains of the Sioux Empire to the heart of the hills.
So I got started the night before by pounding this chicken flat and getting it marinated in Kraft Zesty Italian dressing. This is my favorite Italian dressing marinade. Others may work, but this is really my favorite. I'm using Ziploc freezer bags for the durability, and under a meat hammer they hold up a little better than your regular Ziploc bag. You don't have to use a meat hammer here. You can use a rolling pin or whatever device you've got food grade in the kitchen that would work to pound that stuff flat. The reason why we're pounding the chicken flat is for more even cooking and a little faster cooking. I'm preparing approximately 2 pounds of chicken for this particular meal. The intent here is to prepare the whole tray here and freeze the other half of the tray flat in the freezer for use in something else delicious later. We're going to get started here by gathering all the ingredients together. For the chicken itself, I have this chicken marinated in the Italian dressing, which has been in there for overnight. I have crushed red pepper, I have oregano, and I have basil. These are dry products. And by the way, these measurements are all going to be pretty inexact, so if you can't handle that, you might want to tune out now. For the sauce, we've got heavy cream. We're not necessarily going to use this whole thing. This is a pint here. Butter, we're going to use probably about half the stick, and Parmesan, we probably need more than this a little bit. We'll probably try and find another package of Parmesan here somewhere. And then, of course, you need your broccoli. Fresh broccoli. We've not ever tried this with frozen. That might work too. And then we've got, of course, your pasta. So I'm going to get started by preheating a high-sided skillet here. Throw some butter in there. You can also throw in olive oil too. That certainly works if you're after the health benefits, which most of the time I would do that, but I'm looking for the browning on the chicken this time. So I'm going to make sure I got this pan good and hot, and then I'm going to add the chicken, which has been flattened and marinated. And I add just a little bit of water to this before I put the lid on and set the timer for 6 minutes, allowing the chicken to cook at 6 minutes at medium heat. So I placed the cover on the saute pan here over the chicken cooking. I've set the timer for 6 minutes. I will turn it at 6 minutes and then saute it for another 6 minutes on the other side. It's important that you do not lift the cover from the chicken here while it's cooking, as it will cause that to dry out and be tough in texture. So now we're dicing the broccoli into bite-sized pieces. So the timer has gone off for 6 minutes over the chicken here, and we're just going to flip it in the pan. You see I got a little bit too much water in there this time. That'll inhibit the browning a little bit, but don't worry, the chicken will still cook through quite nicely. We'll replace the top, and meanwhile we've got the water going for the pasta and for the broccoli. Timing will be important here. We want everything to come together sort of at the last minute, and the broccoli is going to want to be just tender, just barely tender to put it in the chicken. For the white sauce, I'm going to take about 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter here. I don't know whether salted or unsalted matters too much or not. And then I'm going to open up the heavy cream here and add probably most of this pint here to the saucepan. Get that melted together in the saucepan and warmed up. We'll add the Parmesan cheese here after a bit. I'm heating the white sauce under a pretty low heat here. You should not allow this to boil over. There's really no hurry on this. We've still got a little while for the chicken to run yet, and then rest before we'll need to put this together. I've also started the broccoli here. Ordinarily we would roast this in the oven, or I don't know. Some people like to steam broccoli, and what we're looking for here is we're actually boiling it, and we're looking for it just to start turning colors, because that's kind of when you start developing a little bit of tenderness. It's pretty tough right now being raw. We want it to be a little bit tender before we throw it in the pan here with the chicken. Again, we are not allowing the white sauce to boil over, and we're gonna whisk it together a little bit. If you need to add thickness, you can use some flour to do that. So now we have the timer going off for the second 6 minutes on the chicken here. We're going to cut the heat and let this rust for several minutes before we cut it. Thinking about it, I'm going to test the white sauce here, and I can still feel that bar of butter down in there. So we're going to raise the heat up on that just a little bit. So if you don't hear anything else in this video, you need to hear that it's important to let the chicken rest for several minutes before you cut into it, and even now we might be cutting into it a bit early. The rationale for that is that we want to lock in the juices and the stuff that makes the chicken delicious and tender and all that kind of thing. So I'm just going to cut cross grain here and put that chicken immediately back in the pan where I got it from as I've cut it, so we don't lose all this heat here. I don't. You might want to be a tow truck driver, but I don't think you want to be a tow truck owner. We're going to apply a very gentle heat to the bottom of this chicken pan here. After you've diced the chicken and replaced it into the pan, it's important that you do not clean up this pan from the brown bits. That's flavor on the bottom of the pan, whatever you've got in there. I encourage you to leave that there and have that become part of the sauce. We're going to check on the broccoli here now. It's been boiling for a little bit, and that needs to be turned off because you can see it's just started to turn color here, and this is perfect. We'll put everything together now. We're going to give the white sauce one final stir here. We're using angel hair but there's no reason you can't use spaghetti or any other kind of pasta, whatever you've got on hand. We're aiming for around 5 to 6 minutes on the pasta here, and it looks like we'll be just about right. And now at this point, we'll dump that white sauce into the chicken. Probably give that a couple of good stirs, and really this white sauce, I would have expected or would have wanted this to be a little more homogeneous than it is by the time it hits the chicken, but you know what, so be it. So now here's where it gets dicey for you pinheads. I'm going to add a little bit of basil, depending on how spicy you like it. Red chili flakes, crushed red pepper, aka maybe a little more of that. You could also make this recipe with andouille sausage or whatever kind of ring bologna that you have on hand. It would taste great with that. And then I've got oregano leaves. Sorry to you pinheads that want exact measurements. So I'm going to give this a good stir with a wood spoon. Distribute all the flavors all around the bottom of the pan here. If I'm feeling extra fancy, I might dump several tablespoons of white cooking wine into the mixture here too. I'm going to drain the broccoli off now. Then we add the broccoli to the chicken and white sauce mixture. Give it a good healthy stir. I moved this to the back burner here on very low heat just to keep it warm while we're finishing off the noodles and getting salad and wine and all that stuff. So I've replaced the noodles into the original cooking pot, and I'm going to put on a liberal coating of extra virgin olive oil here and stir that around. And the primary purpose of that is just so your noodles don't get sticky. Since we're not wine snobs and didn't have any white wine chilled, we chose this Stella Rosa black cherry to pair with the Acadian chicken pasta. And this is how it all looks plated up. The section crew says
it's really good.
2 thumbs up.
And Ada says this pairs really well with her tiramisu bowl. Check the description below for a link to that recipe. Hey Paul, what did you just say to me?
Hey Eric, you need to put the pot holders down and start working on your layout.
So my mom used to say that if you can read, you can cook. It's gotten even easier now when my kids get tired of hearing me say this. But if you can Google, you can cook. So now even Milo can cook. Check that out.